welcome to the Twins Mummy NI podcast. I am mummy to 2-year-old twins, Isla and Daria, and baby Lara. Join us in our family adventure as I explore a range of topics on parenthood. Hello everybody and welcome to the 42nd episode of the Twins Mummy NI podcast. If you've just stumbled upon this podcast, my name is Carla and I work as a TV journalist, but now I'm a stay-at-home mum to twin toddlers and a little baby. If you're interested in topics such as maternal mental health, parental well-being, and what life is really like with 3 under 3, then this is the place for you. You are very welcome. You can also check out our family adventure on Instagram at twinsmummyni. Hello everybody, it is lovely to be able to get a moment to sit down and have a chat with you for the Christmas episode of the Twins Mummy NI podcast. Now, before I begin, I'm going to be very honest with you, I am absolutely exhausted and I'll tell you why. Things have been so busy in our house. Yes, it is busy in itself, looking after 3 babies under 3. But outside of our normal schedule, there are lots of different things going on. This time of the year feels very busy, with all of the plans and preparations for Christmas Day. So we have that. But as well as that, we are attending lots of different open days for nurseries at the minute, which in itself is an exciting time, but it's quite an emotional time as well. And I'm not quite sure I'm just ready for that new chapter yet. But at the minute, our focus is going to the open days and seeing how things unfold. And if all of that wasn't enough, we're getting the house painting, decorated, and a wee bit of carpeting done at the minute as well. We're shifting babies into different bedrooms. So my plan is to keep the twins together in their own little bedroom. And Laura, a few months down the line, she will be moving into her own room. So we thought we'd start getting a wee bit of painting and decorating done for all of the ladies' bedrooms. And I can't even get my Christmas tree up because the whole house is everywhere. Do you know yourself, whenever you get a wee bit of work done in your house, whether it's carpeting, painting, everything's everywhere. We've moved things out of different rooms into other rooms and just the whole house is just up all over the place, and I kind of feel a wee bit stressed with that. I like as much order as I possibly can, especially when we try to keep things ticking over in our household at the minute. But you know what, we're in day 3 of it. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, tomorrow might finish it and we'll be able to get our furniture and all of our belongings back into the one place again. But hopefully, once it's all over, I'll appreciate it and I'll be able to get my Christmas tree up, because in our household I would like to put my Christmas decorations up at the end of November, but my husband would like them up in the middle of December. So we compromise, like all things in a marriage, and we put them up right in the middle on the 1st of December. As I speak to you in this podcast episode today, we're getting through December rightly enough and my decorations still aren't up, but I want to get the trees up. This is baby Laura's first Christmas and I'm excited to see what her reaction will be to all of the twinkling lights. And I know Isla and Daria will have a little bit more understanding and awareness this Christmas of lots of different things, so I'm excited to get the tree up. Having said that, I don't know what it'll be like. In our house, I like to put up 3 trees, but I think we'll have to put up 2 trees this year, just with the toddlers and the chaos of all of that. I can just picture it now. Whenever I have the tree up in our living room, I can see Isla and Aria and their little paws climbing up on all of the different decorations, and the tree will probably be in the floor. Oh, even the thought of it. So I don't know how I'm going to manage that. See, on Instagram, lots of people post photographs where they put the tree inside the playpen. Fair play to them. And if that works for them, that's great. But I'm going to have to come up with a little bit of a plan on what we're going to do. But the first thing is, we'd like to get the decorations up in the first place, if I can manage that. But once all the paint and decorating's done, hopefully I'll be able to get that achieved. But just being open and honest with you before we even begin this podcast episode, that's what's going on in the background. I am absolutely exhausted. And I was nervous because I was hoping that I would be able to get this podcast episode recorded and edited out before Christmas, and I'm putting far too much pressure on myself. I need to get the podcast episode done. Just thought, you know what, stop. Put the handbrake on and we will manage. So I'm just taking things one day at a time at the minute. The Christmas tree will get up at some stage. The nursery open days are unfolding day by day. And I'm able to write out a list of things of all of the different responsibilities and activities and things going on that we need to do to be ready for Christmas Day. And you know what? Like all things in life, everything will work out. But I want to have a chat with you right at the start of this podcast episode about attending these nursery open days. I will explore it another episode later down the line when we are further down the process of it. But it's such a huge step for me. I've been a stay-at-home mum with Isla and Daria since they've been born. And this will be the first time that they essentially are leaving me and going into the hands of strangers. But with that, I am a firm believer in getting Isla and Daria out the door and exploring the world and being able to create their own independence right from a very early age. Like, I'm excited for this nursery chapter because I love the fact that Isla and Daria will be able to go somewhere for a couple of hours by themselves, make lots of new friends, work on their little personal and social skills, play with all of the nice toys and take part in all of the activities. I'm excited for them to be able to do that, to go and enjoy themselves just for a couple of hours. It does also give me the opportunity to bond with baby Laura here at home. That was one of the reasons, yes, that I decided to have another child as well. Whenever I had twins, kind of thought my nest is going to be empty all in the one go. But I'm thankful that I still have another little baby here at home to take care of as well. So I am very emotional about it. And I don't know what to think. I don't know what the future will be like. But look, I will explore it in another episode down the line. We spent this week going around lots of different nurseries. It's lovely to be able to get out and about and meet other families who are also on this journey alongside us. So yes, it's exciting, yet a very emotional time at the moment, certainly for me. Anyway, lots of change going on. However, with all of the change that has been going on lately, you know, the arrival of baby Laura, the transition into turning our attention towards nursery, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty there. But there is one thing that I am certain about and that is that I am really looking forward to experiencing Christmas as a family of 5 and a first for baby Laura. You know, Christmas for me is always about family. This time last year, Laura wasn't even here, you know, and here we are a year later as a family of 5, and what a difference a year makes. I can't help in the run up to Christmas this year think about all of the Christmases gone by. I am thinking about the 2 previous Christmases that we did have with Isla and Daria as a family of 4 and how it'll be different this year. And whilst I was thinking about that, I couldn't help but think about all of the Christmases gone by whenever I was a child. And I'm trying to cast my memory back to what one of the earliest memories that I have of Christmas. And I think it has to be Christmas morning. And I was in around either 7 or 8 at the time. A little bit more awareness than Isla and I would have, certainly of Santa at the moment. But I always remember Christmas was so magical in my home. My mum and my dad made it such a special time for me. And it's really only now, whenever I became a mum myself, that I really appreciated that. I remember waking up on Christmas morning. I don't know what it was like in your household, but I was always up quite early and around 6, 7 o'clock, you know, running down the corridor, excited to see if Santa had been. And yes, of course, Santa had been. And I remember creeping into the living room. I don't know how Santa achieved it, but I saw on the carpet big white footprints, which were supposed to be Santa's footprints from the snow on the good carpet. Needless to say, had I done that, now what I would not have to listen to him making a mess in the good front room, but it was okay because Santa did it. But I remember it being so magical, and I remember walking over to the fireplace and there was this little letter, handwritten of course, from Santa, and I just remember thinking that was so magical. And he had drank the little milk and Rudolph had taken the carrot with him on their merry way. You know, when you think about it now, it helps me to think about what traditions I would like to take from my own childhood and implement them here into our own family home. Another lovely memory that I have of Christmas, my mum used to do all the flower arranging in our local church here. And every Christmas Eve, I would go up to the local church and help my mum place all of the holly around the altar and help her with her flower arranging. I remember the crib up and Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus there and the angel Gabriel. I was very young at the time, but it's just something I always remember, and I can still smell the candles in that particular chapel. That is just a lovely memory that I had with mum on Christmas Eve and making sure that the chapel was ready for midnight mass. I always would have went to midnight mass with my mum and dad, and I really enjoyed the beautiful hymns that the choir sing. In fact, one of my favourite songs, and it was a favourite song of my father as well, was Silent Night. I think it's the words of it. I remember at the very end of mass, the lights would be dimmed and you would see all of the candles glistening in the dark chapel, and all you could hear was the sound of Silent Night sang acoustically, and it was absolutely beautiful. I have to say our local choir here are very talented indeed, but those are some of the lovely early memories that I have at Christmas time. But juxtaposed to current day, Christmas as a mum. Christmas as a mum hits very different. Before Isla and Aria came along, Christmas to me, whenever we just got married, my husband and I loved Christmas time. My husband always cooks the dinner. And we would have had family and friends around, Christmas parties and Christmas dinner and New Year's Eve parties. And I loved heading out at Christmas for a few Christmas cocktails and going to the Christmas market and heading out and just enjoying ourselves at Christmas time as the young couple that we were and hopefully still are. But just my priorities were so different than before any of my family came along. And Christmas was an exciting time to meet up with friends, and particularly friends who are around the world or maybe only home at Christmas time. It was the one opportunity to actually get to see them and to spend proper time with them and to see how they actually are doing. So it was lovely to be able to do that and have a chat over a couple of glasses of mulled wine. I loved Christmas and loved the buzz of being out and about, in different places that we were at. This year, my focus is very much inside the home and a much more quieter and humble Christmas. Oh, how times have changed when I think about it now. Now, don't get me wrong, we're very lucky. We will have a babysitter, my good friend Mary, and I'll be able to get out for a couple of nights over Christmas just to catch up with friends for a few hours and enjoy a couple of Christmas cocktails. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's unbelievable the difference now since I've become a mum and what that meaning of Christmas and association with Christmas is. Advent has begun as I record this podcast, so I would like to take Isla, Aria and baby Laura just up to see the lovely crib scene up at our local chapel. I've taken Isla and Aria up the past couple of years, so it'll be very different this year bringing baby Laura with me. Hopefully I'll be able to get a nice photograph maybe of Laura in the crib. We'll see. We'll just see how that goes. But yes, it's important to me to take them up and to talk to them about what the meaning of Christmas is and sing little songs and some story time about what the meaning of Advent is and the meaning of the crib, what they'll see whenever we go up to the chapel to visit it. So that's very important to me. That's something that my mum always would have done with me as a young child, and it's something that I definitely would like to pass on to my own children. Christmas for me, it can be quite a stressful time of the year. And one thing that I'm trying to really work on is to not bombard myself with all of the things to do, to go to all of the activities, to spend lots of money on gifts and what have you. For me, the most important thing is appreciating the simple things in life, and particularly with those who will be around our table this year on Christmas Day. For me, having a humble Christmas is more important than having lots of different presents. And yes, Santa will bring some nice gifts for Isla, Aria and Laura in a very simple way and a very humble way as all three of my little ladies grow up. But for me, it's more about the magic that Santa's been. I heard a rumour that Santa was a gin lover, so instead of setting out a wee glass of whiskey this year, we will be setting out a gin for Santa, because I'm sure he'll be ready for it by the time he reaches our house. And yes, we definitely have to have a nice mince pie out, and of course we'll get a reindeer food out and a couple of carrots for Rudolph and all of the reindeers as well, because I know it'll be a very busy journey and a very long night for them and a very cold night as well. So by the time they get to our house, they'll be well fed anyway. So yes, settling them out Christmas Eve and talking to Isla and Aria and Laura about that, just the magic of that. I'm looking forward to putting up their little stockings this year on the mantelpiece around the fire. We have one of the wood burning stoves here, and I love putting the stockings just above it on the wooden mantelpiece that we have. Looking forward to putting all 5 stockings up in the fireplace this year. That'll probably be a very emotional wee moment for me. I don't know, do you ever experience that yourself? Certainly whenever I first became a mum on that first Christmas with Isla and Ari, I actually had a few tears when I put each of their stockings on the fireplace. It was such a huge moment for me. It's like, gosh, here we have our little family, and their stockings are hung by the fireplace ready for Santa to arrive. It was a real moment for me, and no doubt it'll be a real moment for me when I put all 5 stockings up in that fireplace this year. I'll probably be giving off quite a lot during this episode about not being able to get my decorations up because the house is up all over the place, so you just have to bear with me, and hopefully we'll get this tree up and we'll get these stockings up this weekend. Speaking of this weekend, this is a very big weekend. We're going to meet somebody very special, and that is Santa Claus. Now, I don't know how Santa's going to go. We're going to the same Santa that we've been to the past 2 years, and it has been a wonderful experience. I was quite nervous last year because I wasn't too sure how it would go, but you know what? It went really well, and it's a wonderful little experience. We go to a shopping centre, it's a very simple affair, but I love it. They have a lovely little tree and a choo-choo tree, and it takes us all in to visit Santa in his lovely grotto, and it's beautiful the way they have the set dress and all, and Santa's very friendly. And so I don't know how even logistically we're going to manage getting all of us on this tree, and I'm thinking my husband will have to hopefully hold one twin, I'll have to hold one, and maybe nurse baby Laura. I'm just thinking about that now. I don't know logistically. Yourself, families of multiples out there, the logistics you have to think about beforehand before you go anywhere. So I never even thought about that, trying to get on a train to go and see Santa, but you know what, we will figure it out whenever we get there. So yes, we're going to see Santa this weekend. I will report back to you on how that goes. Obviously Isla and I have a little bit more awareness this year. I don't know. At the minute, I think it might go okay. I hope it'll go okay, but you know what? You see, if it doesn't, it is completely fine. I remember my mummy telling me one year, she took me to go and see Santa Claus, and I cried and absolutely broke her heart because I was so afraid of Santa. But if that happens with any of my children, my priority is them and that they feel safe and that they are happy. So if we don't get a photograph, that is completely okay. As long as my children are okay and that they feel safe and they feel happy. But I'm hoping everything will go okay. Fingers crossed, we'll see. If we get a nice photograph, great. And if we don't get a nice photograph, that's also fine. We'll be there to enjoy the nice experience of the tree and all of the colours of the lights and the Christmas decorations, and be able to see Santa as well. I would say next year, possibly Isla and Aria will have an even lot more understanding of Santa Claus, and I would say with each passing year the magic will grow and grow. I'm really excited and looking forward to that, just to see their little faces on Christmas morning. That'll be such a special moment, and I'm really looking forward to that now, I have to say. Having said that, Christmas is certainly, it can be such a very happy time for people, but equally it can also be a very difficult time. I am very aware that not all of my family members will be around our table this year on Christmas Day. We lost my father shortly after Isla and Aria were born, and there isn't a day goes by that I don't think about him, and there certainly isn't a Christmas that goes by that I don't think about him either. His little chair's always empty around our table, but I think it's important to be able to talk about that. Grief is a very real experience that sadly lots of us do experience in life, but my focus will very much be on keeping Daddy's memory alive, and I have no doubt that when Isla, Aria and Lara grow up, they will ask me about their granddad and who he was, and I will be able to share some lovely stories and photographs and videos with them, to just let them know exactly who their granddad was and keep his memory alive in that very special way. So yes, I do think about my father, and very much so at Christmas time as well, how I would love him to be sitting around the table, with all 5 of us. We know that obviously won't be the case, but I am very thankful, certainly, for everybody who will be around our Christmas dinner table this year, and that will very much be my focus. Christmas traditions is something I would love to talk about. I would like to start some new Christmas traditions, ones that I experienced as a child with my own dad and mum growing up. Singing and music was certainly a big thing in our household. There was never a day went by that my dad didn't have the guitar out in the good room, and he was either, if he wasn't writing poems, he was writing songs or singing songs. I loved Christmas. Dad would have sang lots of Christmas songs, and with that, I would always have got the history of that song as well. Like every year, he would have told me the history of the song Silent Night, and I think that's why I love that song so much, because there's so many fond memories of hearing the same story every year, how it was written, how it came about. And I always remember actually my dad telling me his favourite song was White Christmas, Bing Crosby. Wee memories like that pop up now and again. Music always filled our home, certainly whenever I was growing up, and particularly at Christmas time. I remember sitting in the front room where I was playing the piano and Daddy was in the guitar, and we would have sang some of our favourite songs, you know, Silent Night, In the Bleak Midwinter. I love that one, as Oh Holy Night, you know, those real traditional hymns I really enjoyed. We also sang Jingle Bells. Actually, it was a good fun one if we had a few friends and family around for a bit of a party. Songs that kind of just lift your spirit. And this is something, going to midnight mass, I mentioned it briefly as well. That was a big thing in our house, where I would have been out with my mum and dad, and I loved lighting the candles, and there was just something very special about midnight mass and the quietness of that. I have been able to go the past couple of years. I'm hoping I'll be able to go this year. It'll depend all around baby Laura's feeding schedule, but we will see. And another big tradition in our house whenever I was growing up as a child was telling stories around the fire. This didn't happen very often, but Christmas seemed to be a beautiful time where everybody just stopped their busy schedules and we came together as a family and made time for each other. And that was something I loved. My dad was a great storyteller. He could tell a great yarn about many a person around the world, and I really loved that. And Dad was so creative and in the way he told the stories as well. So I used to love it. I used to get into my cosy Christmas PJs, my fluffy socks, have a cup of hot chocolate and just listen to Dad telling stories, certainly of years gone by. I really loved listening to all of the stories of his own experience of Christmas growing up as a child, and just how very different that was, what Christmas has gone by and what Christmas really meant to him. And that's something that I would definitely like to pass on to my own children, and keeping those Christmas traditions alive. I must have a little think as well of some new Christmas traditions I would love to have here in our home. You know, can I ask, do you have any Christmas traditions in your home? Have you set any new ones? Send me a message on Instagram, because I would keen to know and get some inspiration of different traditions. You know, I know many of you are listening from around the world, and I'd be really keen to know if there's any set traditions, perhaps even in your own country, to do with Christmas. Send me a message on Instagram and I will feature it in the podcast at a later date, because I would love to hear what Christmas is like in your family home. In keeping with our conversation about Christmas traditions and preparations, I have asked a couple of mums of multiples from around the world to have a chat with us about what Christmas is like in their family home. Let's start with the lovely triplet mum, Arlene.
I am a triplet mummy to Isaac, Alfie and Harry, who are 2.5 years old. It's so lovely to be back on the podcast again, so thank you, Carla. And it's so exciting to be on here talking about Christmas. I absolutely love Christmas, always have, and I love it even more now with the boys. They just make each year more and more magical. I am so excited about Christmas this year. The boys are so excited too. They keep telling everyone what Santa is bringing them, singing Jingle Bells flat out. It is just so lovely and magical to see it through their eyes. So Christmas to us as a family of 5 is honestly about the simple things leading up to Christmas. We love getting in the car, driving around seeing the Christmas light, and our new favourite, me and the boys while Daddy's at work, is cosy lazy mornings in the house watching Christmas films. Now, sometimes the boys will only sit for 20 minutes to watch it, but then they'll be playing away and the Christmas film's on in the background, and it is just so wholesome. We also love a good sing-along in the car to Christmas music, and also singing and dancing in the living room. Now, I would find it so hard to pick a favourite Christmas song, as I absolutely love them all. But our favourite one, me and the boys at the minute, apart from Jingle Bells, of course, is Shaking Stevens' Merry Christmas, everyone. We just absolutely love it. We love getting up and dancing and singing to it. And you should hear the boys singing it. It would honestly melt your heart. So Christmas has always been, for me, about family time. And it, again, always about the simple things, the pretty lights, the decorations, your dinner, and of course, when you were younger, the presents. But it's just about everyone being together and being such happy form. I always remember Christmas when I was younger being so special, and I love the traditions that my family created. So I love the new and old traditions that I'm now creating with my family. My earliest Christmas memory is when I was a young girl. I have older brothers, and they would have got me to close my eyes, held my hand walking down the stairs, and then they would have opened the living room door and they were like, now you can open your eyes. And that is just so precious. I'll always remember that. And also one Christmas morning, my brother Glenn, he had wakened me and he was like, did you hear Santa's reindeers on the roof? And I was like, yeah. I was just so in awe of it. So I can't wait to create them memories for my boys. I also know Christmas can be a hard time and a sad time for whatever reason. People may be struggling, having hard times, and of course missing loved ones. For me, it's missing my granny and granda, who I was so close with. And it's just harder with the Christmas season. Of course, you miss them every day and think about them every day, but Christmas time can be hard. So just thinking of everyone who is maybe struggling or just missing loved ones and just finding this festive period hard. I can't wait for Christmas morning this year with the boys. Last year they walked into the living room themselves, and I can just imagine this year they'll be running into the living room. Also so excited to spend the Christmas holidays with family and friends. But just a reminder for all us busy mummies, I just hope that you busy mummies can take time out for yourselves. We create the magic. It's nice just to sit back and be involved and watch the magic. I know it's hard with little ones just to even get 5 minutes sometimes, but even if you try and take 5 minutes, whether it's with a cup of coffee, a cup of nice hot chocolate, and just sit with Christmas film on in the background, Christmas music, and just take it all in. It really is the little things, and this time is so precious. So excited about Christmas, and I honestly can't wait. I love the run up till it also as well. Like this morning we were just Christmas colouring in with the boys, and just them wee things just make the run up so special. So I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas and best wishes for the new year.
Let's go a little bit further afield over to California, and let's catch up with triplet mum Julianne, who also featured in the podcast earlier this year. Julianne shared a beautiful story about the meaning of Christmas.
I wanted to share my earliest Christmas memory is when I was about 4 years old. I remember setting up the nativity scene with my abuelita, and I remember being so excited to see baby Jesus appear in the manger on Christmas morning. My family and I prepare for Christmas season by setting up the nativity scene as well. We decorate the Christmas tree together, and we read books about the birth of Jesus, and we love to take the kids to see Christmas lights and Santa. On Christmas morning, our home starts with showing the triplets baby Jesus was born and how he appeared in our nativity scene. Then we open presents in our PJs. A funny Christmas memory is the year that we found out we were expecting triplets. We decided to make our announcement with our holiday pictures. We posted a picture of our dogs in front of the Christmas tree. They were wearing bandanas that said Big Sister, and it showed the ultrasound of the babies next to them. A lot of people thought that our dogs were having puppies and didn't believe that we were actually expecting triplets. A Christmas song that warms my heart is Feliz Navidad. It reminds me of singing with my abuelita every Christmas in her kitchen while we prepared tamales.
Last on our trail, we're going to the other side of the world, over to Australia, and we're going to catch up with twin mum Marnie, who has also been in the podcast before, about what Christmas is like in her family home.
Merry Christmas, everyone from Australia. So how do we prepare for Christmas Day? Well, this year my husband and I are both working full time, so there really isn't a lot of preparation time. We work right up until the afternoon on Christmas Eve. I've actually just finished some Christmas shopping tonight, and it's the 19th of December and it's 9:30 at night. I've just come back with my bags of Christmas shopping, so that's how down to the wire it is here. So yeah, I try and avoid the shops as much as possible. It's absolute chaos, so it's not my favorite thing to do, if I'm being really honest. I prefer to buy everything online. I also like to do some baking this year. I've been pretty time poor, so I've only just made a little bit of chili jam and some Rocky Road, and that's about it. I did have a lot of intentions to make Christmas cookies and gingerbread men and lots of other things, but we just haven't had the time. I do have a large box with lots of Christmas things like t-shirts, headbands, earrings, and so forth. So I do try and get us all dressed for Christmas, and we try and wear those Christmas clothes all through December. This year with the girls, we started in mid-November, so they've been wearing their Christmas outfits since then. So even if we're rushed off our feet and everything is chaos, at least we look Christmassy. Christmas morning in our household has actually yet to be developed, really. This year, the twins are 2.5, so it's the first year that they've been really aware of Christmas and understood Santa and reindeer and elves and things like that. So they also are starting to understand that Santa gives gifts. So we really haven't kind of made a plan or know what it looks like yet. They're kind of leading the way on that. I think this Christmas, though, I'm hoping to have an lovely big breakfast with croissants and eggs and bacon and mimosas, and then we're going to head down to my in-laws' place on the river and have a lovely Christmas day with them. This year was the first year that I actually was brave enough to take the twins to a community carols event, and there's a really famous one here on the Gold Coast where Santa and his elves skydive. So they fly down from the sky or parachute from the sky down onto the beach, and then I think Santa goes into a tent and has a change of clothes and comes out looking a bit fatter before he appears on stage. So it was really fun to actually take the girls to that carols this year. And at first, Poppy was really scared of the elves flying down from the sky. But all of a sudden she got into it. And as an elf flew past us in his parachute, she goes, "Oh, it's a big one," because it was really close, but it was just the sweetest moment. She got so excited after that, especially when Santa appeared in his parachute not long after that. We listened to Christmas music all through December, and the girls are absolutely loving Christmas music this year. The Wiggles have a really great Christmas album, so it's just so fun watching them run through the house and sing jingle bells or put on little Christmas concerts or shaking their maracas along to the Christmas songs. I don't have a favourite Christmas song, but I do love listening to the old Motown Christmas albums. I love listening to their renditions of Christmas carols and, the newer or more modern Christmas songs that we all listen to. So I just love their interpretations and love putting those albums on. I love all Christmas music. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you have a lovely, safe, love-filled, family-filled, excitement-filled Christmas season.
I had to take a little break there. Baby Laura needed fed. So we are back again for the second part of the Christmas podcast episode. It is a day later since I last spoke to you. The biggest update is the painting is now finished, which is great. However, the house is still all over the place and the Christmas tree is still not up. However, the carpet people will be coming tomorrow, and once that's all finished, I'll be able to get the house back into some type of order again and hopefully get my Christmas trees and all of my decorations up then. It is still a very busy household here at the moment. I'm actually waiting. I order my groceries to be delivered each week. It's so much easier than packing all three of us up. You know yourselves, multiple families out there, it's not too often that we get double trolleys anywhere we go. And I've been a couple of times, but it just is much easier if I get the groceries delivered. So I am waiting in the grocery van coming up our drive here. I'm just looking out the window in front of me. If he does arrive, I will have to pause the recording. Baby Laura is sleeping to the right of me in her little next to me cot. She will be due a feed within the hour, so she may wake up, and we have somebody else coming to help with the decorating the next hour as well. If all of those three things materialise between the time now and the time I finish this podcast episode with you, forgive me, because I will have to stop and do that before Eileen and I are due a feed for the next hour as well. So it's all go, but we'll keep going anyway until somebody needs me. But there's three big topics that I want to hit on. The first one is, it can be quite a difficult topic for some people. Christmas is a very happy time for lots of people, but it can also be quite a hard time for people as well. The holidays are not always a joyful experience for everyone, and that can be for a range of different reasons. One that I want to touch on is grief and how to navigate those big feelings during the festive period. I've mentioned it before in the podcast that I have lost my father shortly after when the twins were born. And I'm very aware of that every day, but particularly at certain times of the year around his birthday or anniversary, and most definitely at Christmas time. I don't know what it's like in your house, but in our house, everybody has their set place around the table. And every year I see that little chair empty where my father is not there. So yes, it is hard without Dad around our table this year, yet again. And I'm sure there are many, sadly, out there who will be listening to this podcast and know exactly what I'm talking about. Grief touches all of us at some stage in our lives. But what I will be focusing on this year is, yes, accepting the fact that Dad no longer is with us. Christmas is very much a family time, and I'm aware that not all of our family will be with us this Christmas as a result of that. However, I like to focus on keeping his memory alive. So we will have some stories around the Christmas dinner table, and we will of course talk about Dad. I will go and visit his grave. Every year I put a little Christmas wreath on his grave, and I bring the girls with me. So I'll have 3 girls with me this year as we place the little Christmas wreath and the little robin in Daddy's grave, and that's very important to me. I find that quite healing. I would never talk about this type of thing because it's such big emotions, and it is a sensitive topic, both for myself but for everybody else as well, and I'm quite mindful of that. Everybody's experience of grief is unique to them. And my experience is through time. Yes, it is sad, and yes, it's not easy, but I think you just learn to live in a world without them in it, and that's quite difficult, yeah. But the most important thing for me is to keep my father and the girls' grandfather memory alive. So I will do that. So I just wanted to acknowledge in a very brief way, I'm talking about family and looking forward to Christmas, but I also wanted to acknowledge the fact that yes, Christmas can be a difficult time for many people like myself who have lost loved ones. Another thing that I wanted to discuss is every year you have this idea of the perfect holiday, and to me that's a complete myth. Certainly as far as I'm concerned, I'm trying to manage my own expectations in achieving that. I'm trying to let go of this pressure, the idea of creating this Pinterest perfect Christmas or this shiny, happy photograph, Instagram style idea of Christmas. And actually, instead of doing that, I'm focusing more on what truly matters to our family. And briefly, as I'd mentioned there about grief, the most important thing to me will be the people that are here and the people that will be around our Christmas dinner table this year on Christmas Day. So that's what I'm focusing more on. What I have done differently this year, I have picked one little Christmas activity to do with our family each week. I remember last year thinking, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. And we have to go to all of the festive activities and to create the magic. And all that I was achieving was putting unnecessary pressure on myself to go and do everything. Where this year I've been able to pick one Christmas activity each week and it's working very well for me. For example, we will be visiting Santa this weekend, which is exciting. We will be visiting the Christmas lights the following week, and I have booked us into a little play cafe as well where Mrs. Claus is coming for some nice story time, which I hope the girls will enjoy, and obviously a little bit of Christmas play as well. And you know what? That's enough. That is enough. The girls don't care if we're not out every single day going to all of the festive activities. And I notice it's working very, very well for me this year. It's just taking the pressure right off. Well, I'm only a couple of months postpartum and I am still recovering from my C-section. I am managing hormones. I am up every couple of hours feeding baby Laura and obviously looking after the twin toddlers as well. We're getting the house decorated. We are going to lots of different nursery open days. So there's a lot going on. You know, I'm sure it's busy in your households as well. You know, I'm sure you have lots of different things going on. And I think it's important to just slow down, particularly at this time of the year when it can feel so stressful and there's so much pressure and such a busy time, to actually really enjoy the holidays for what they are. So less about this perfect Christmas and more about spending quality time with my family and picking one thing each week to attend and to go and to actually really enjoy it instead of a tick box, tick, we've done this activity, we've done that activity. No. And I know the girls are actually really enjoying it a lot more. I read an article online there during the week about creating traditions, new traditions in your family, and there was a few there, but one I can remember really stuck out with me, which I thought was a beautiful idea. Getting like a glass jar, and at the start of the year, each week, writing down one nice memory that you had with your family. And equally, whenever the children are growing up and have a little bit more understanding, to encourage them to write a nice little memory that they had that week and place it in the jar. And then when it comes to Christmas time, New Year, at the end of that year, open that jar and together read all of those lovely memories that you experienced throughout that past year. So I think that'll be something that I will do. You know, I have all these grand intentions like, I must do that, and I never ever get around to doing it because I'm just that busy all the time. But that is something I am going to try and carve out some time and make the effort to do. You know, I'm not really a big fan of setting New Year's resolutions or things like that. But that is one thing that I probably will try and do. If there's one thing I'd like to try and work towards next year, it'll be that. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I wondered to have a think yourself if there are any traditions that you would like to create in your family, if in your family homes over Christmas or the New Year. Send me a message on Instagram because I would love to hear from you if there are any traditions that you do have in your home or any thoughts or ideas around that, because I am looking for inspiration of new little traditions to set here in our family home. And the last thing I want to have a chat with you about is we're doing very well. Laura's still sleeping, the grocery man hasn't arrived, and the decorator man hasn't arrived either, so we'll keep going, we're doing well. Focusing on self-care this Christmas. You know, I think Christmas is a magical holiday, certainly for family and the meaning of Christmas as well. But mums and dads tend to be so busy with all the preparations that is required for Christmas Day and the run up to Christmas. But I think, you know, mums and dads deserve a magical holiday too. Now, what I mean when I say that is I think it's important to focus on self-care and to try and squeeze in little moments of rest and joy for mums and dads ourselves, as well as our children. And I think if you do make that time for yourself and to try and get as much rest as you can. You'll be able to enjoy Christmas with your families that little bit more, and to be able to slow down and really take in all of these precious moments. Because I know, like, so many people tell me all the time when we're out and about, enjoy these early years, enjoy these young years, because they go by so fast. I don't actually think they are going by fast. Somebody said to me once, the days are long, but the years are short. And I do actually agree with that. But the twins are 2.5, baby Laura's almost 2 months old. And I feel it has been 2.5 years. I feel it has been 2 months. I don't think the time has went in that fast at all. I do appreciate that all 3 girls will not be with me every Christmas. They possibly will have family and homes of their own to go to. So whenever they are still with me here, I will very much enjoy that and experiences with them. I think it is important to carve out some self-care for ourselves. Absolutely. I'm going out and socialising with my friends. I will try and have a nice bath. I love going to getting some festive bath bombs and putting them in the bath as well, and just switching off for an hour, maybe with a wee glass of Prosecco, and watching a Christmas movie in the bath. Perfect. I'm going to try, if I can find an hour for myself sometime in the run up to Christmas, to do that as well, because that's the first thing that relaxes me. I'm waiting to get to the 12-week mark so I can properly exercise again. That's another big thing for me. I have to wait a little bit longer. Now, I am getting out and about for walks with the girls, but I would like to incorporate a little bit of light exercise, and I'll have to build myself up again. Because that's something for me, and it's something that I really enjoy doing, and it'd be nice to feel fit and healthy again if I can, once I fully recover from this C-section. And reading a Christmas book, I've downloaded a couple of Christmas books onto my Kindle, but like always, I haven't even turned the first page of those books yet. So maybe tonight's the night. If the girls go down nicely for me, I'll be able to pour myself a little glass of mulled wine. Glühwein, I picked up a bottle of Glühwein there during the week, so I might be able to pour 1 glass of Glühwein and enjoy opening the first page of one of those Christmas books that I have on my Kindle, and to just relax and enjoy some quiet time that way as well. If there are any self-care tips that you have yourself that you feel that really works, let me know. Send me a message on the Twins Mummy NI Instagram page, because I would love to know. I'm always looking out for new ways of self-care. Self-care is a term that's bandied about all the time, but it's really only when I became a mum myself I appreciated the importance of that. Even to just make time for myself and to rest. To me, that's self-care, and like even meeting our basic needs, like taking a hot shower, going to the toilet when I need to go to the toilet, eating a meal when I'm hungry, and drinking water. Like, for example, yesterday it was 3 o'clock and I said, gosh, I haven't even drunk any water today. There are days like that. So it is important to me to meet my basic needs and to carve out some self-care, and particularly at this very busy time of the year running up to Christmas. So do message me if you have any tips there as well. Now, we are coming to the very end of this podcast episode. Now, I am sure for those of you who are listening out there, you have experienced many funny episodes at Christmas time. I'm going to share a little story with you about some funny Christmas feels that have happened in our house in the years gone by. Last year, my husband's the cook in our house, thankfully. Oh, there is the grocery man. I am going to have to stop and pause this podcast episode. What way is he reversing up this drive? He doesn't know whether to go to the front or back. Right, looks like I'm going to have to go. I'll come back to you once I have all these groceries sorted. Right, we're just picking up where I left off. The grocery man had arrived and left all of the groceries off. So it's a couple of hours later. Ayla, Ari and Laura had their lunch, and I'm just getting a minute or two to myself to sit down and complete the end of this podcast. I'm trying to remind myself what we were chatting about. Yes, funny stories at Christmas time. I'm wondering, have you had any Christmas feels yourself, or any funny stories that you have experienced at Christmas time? I'm going to share a few of them with you. I remember last year at Christmas time, my husband is the cook in our house, and he had prepared the turkey ready for the oven and the gammon as well, and he had placed the gammon into the fridge. Now, he had asked me to lift the gammon out of the fridge, and of course I dropped the whole heap on the floor. Anyway, having said that, it was still salvageable, thankfully. But even to this day, he certainly hasn't let me forget that episode. I had one job, and that was to lift the gammon out of the fridge, and of course I dropped it on the floor. Another thing that I did, and it was last Christmas as well, my job was to order the meat for the Christmas dinner, and we normally order our meat from the local butchers here in town, but I thought I was all pleased with myself, and I'd got everything ordered at the start of December, and it was very organised, and I rang the butchers on Christmas Eve, sort out a time that would be in to pick it up. And they told me I hadn't ordered. Now, this was Christmas Eve, and the panic. I was like, my goodness, with no turkey or no gammon. Of course, there would be no Christmas dinner in our household. I don't know what in the world had happened, because I knew I was all organised beforehand and the whole thing ordered and whatnot. Turned out I had called the wrong butchers. So there was another butchers who had my order sitting there, and hopefully another family benefited from that. But thankfully, the butchers that I did ring had spare turkeys and had spare gammon, so I was able to get sorted. Now I'm back with you again. I think this is probably the fourth effort to have a chat with you for the Christmas episode. This time round, the batteries ran out. Nobody arrived, nobody needed fed, nobody's nappies needed changed, just the batteries ran out instead. But here we are back again. I will pick up, let me just double check we are recording. Yes, we are. I will pick up where we left off. Yes, we're chatting about funny stories about Christmas time. Luckily, in the end, the butchers that I rang on Christmas Eve morning had spare turkeys and had spare gammons, so we were able to get sorted for Christmas Day dinner. So fingers crossed I don't make this mistake again this year. Another funny story about Christmas time is, yes, my job in my house is to make the starters for Christmas Day dinner. So normally we have, growing up as a child, we had little prawn cocktails for starters. We're very fancy of ourselves, yes, in our house. But my mum had little special glasses that were gifted to her from a very special person who is no longer with us. And she very kindly gave them to me. So we use them in our house. They're very special indeed. But we use them in our house for Christmas Day starters each year. And in them, my job is to put lettuce, some little bit of scallion, spring onion, wherever you're from, seafood sauce, some tomatoes, and prawns. And I kid you not, for the past 3 years, I have forgotten to defrost the prawns. So we've had our prawn cocktail just without the prawns. So I am hoping this year, as it'll be the 4th year, fingers crossed, that I will remember to defrost those prawns and that we will be able to enjoy a proper prawn cocktail as a starter for our Christmas Day dinner. So fingers crossed, I'll keep you updated on that, whether it was a success or not. That's just a couple of stories just off the top of my head of funny feels at Christmas time, or funny stories that and memories I can remember at Christmas time. If you have any yourself, I would love to hear them. Please do send me a message on the Twins Mummy NI Instagram page, and I will feature them on my Instagram page, because I would love to hear from you. Any funny stories that you have had over the years at Christmas time. Please don't tell me that you've made the same mistake that I have and called the wrong butchers, dropped the ham, or forgot to defrost the prawns. Let me know what your stories are, and I will feature them on the Instagram page as well. Now, we are coming to the very end of this podcast, and I have a favour to ask from you. What I would love is, if you have time, please leave a review, share the podcast link on social media, and leave a comment about the episode that you're listening to. I would love to be able to hear from you. The reason that I do this podcast is for you, the listeners, and it's very important to me. I would really love to hear from you and to hear your feedback, and if there are any topics that you would like me to cover on the Twins Mummy NI podcast, don't be afraid to reach out to me. I would love to hear from you, and I will certainly try my best to feature them on the podcast. And if they are topics that I feel I don't know too much about, I will make it my business to find an expert who perhaps could come on the podcast and discuss some of the topics that you do suggest. So please do leave a review, share the podcast link on social media, and leave a comment about the episode. I would love to hear from you. Talking about the future of the Twins Mummy NI podcast, what my hope is in the new year. As you all know, I am now a mum of 3. And it is very busy in our household. So my plan is definitely to keep the podcast up. And I hope to broadcast one episode a month around my very busy schedule here at home, because there are 3 little ladies who very much need their mammy. And that certainly will be my priority. And my hope is, as I say, to broadcast one episode a month, because that'll ensure that I don't burn myself out, burning the candle at both ends. So that will be very achievable for me. So hopefully that's okay with yourselves. One episode a month for the Twins Mummy and I podcast in the new year. As time goes on, I will review the situation and then we will go from there. But I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Let me take an opportunity at the end of the year to say a big thank you to everybody that has gifted us with your time on the Twins Mummy and I podcast. By you listening to the podcast that makes this possible for me. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for gifting me with your time. It is my hope to continue to shine a spotlight on important topics that are worthwhile talking about in terms of perinatal mental health, maternal well-being, and what life really is like with 3 under 3 here in our family home. So with all of that in mind, that's it for this week's podcast episode. Thank you for your time today. I will join you next time for a chat on the Twins Mummy NI podcast. I hope you all have a lovely Christmas with your family, whatever you're up to. And I look forward to chatting with you once again in the new year with some exciting guests lined up. And I hope to continue to shine a spotlight on important topics with the one hope that it will help somebody out there listening to feel less alone. In the meantime, take care, happy Christmas, and remember there is always hope.